Okay, so this is a video to show some examples of drill and practice software or applications that could be used for the high school mathematics classroom. So our first example is Khan Academy. Now, Khan Academy has tons of instructional videos, but I think the best part about Khan Academy are their practice problems. So this is an example of a type of practice problem that they have on there that is graphing parabolas in vertex form. So this one's really neat because you have a graph and it gives you some dots here, some points that we can move to create a parabola. So you're going to need to know some properties of a parabola, like what the vertex is and how wide or skinny it is. So some options that the student has to complete this is they could watch this video to help them, which is straight from Khan Academy. They could click on the Show Me How, I'd like a hint button, and then it checks their answer. And one good thing about Khan Academy is it does sort of have a not quite like a video game style, but it does have some elements of gaming that students are used to. For example, like badges or trying to get, like, they want you to get 3 in a row and getting points and things like that that help motivate students to get better and better at these types of examples. So let's look at this one. This one's asking us to graph it in vertex form. So if they know the vertex form, then they know the vertex is at 4, 4. So you can drag a point over. Now I'm going to move my other points so that this will eventually become the vertex. And then let's say I move this so that I know that, because I know this needs to reflect. So now it looks like a parabola, but I don't know if it's the correct point. So I'd have to maybe do some work, plug in some numbers. If I plug in, say, 3, for example, I could work that out. So the student would be working this out. And so let's check my answer. Well, I got a little X here, so I didn't get it right. And then let's say I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I know how to get the vertex, but I don't know what else to do from the perspective of a student. Okay, so let's start using the hints. The equation is in vertex form, so we can use the vertex as one of the points. Okay. And then they tell you the formula. They give you h and k and tell you that's the vertex. So I can keep going until I can find another point. So it says to find another point on the parabola, we can try plugging in an x value into the equation. So they plugged in 5 and they got the 0.59. And look up here on the graph that shows you the little green X right here shows you the vertex. The pink one is showing me a point. So I wasn't that far off. And it shows you how many hints you have left. It shows you the axis of symmetry. All these things are being described down here and drawn on here, which is really useful for helping a student understand what to do. And then I could try again. I can do another problem. I can do as many as I want, but they want you to get 3 in a row correct, which shows a good level of mastery. So that's one example of a sort of drill and practice software, and it's completely free. Another one that we have here is IXL, and they have various topics. Well, they have language arts and math. So if we look at math, we can go to the main page and you'll see that they've got basically from counting to imaginary numbers. They have a really good range of topics. Now they do have a subscription model, but as far as I can tell, I've been able to practice all of them. So let's just look, for example, at Algebra 2. The amount of topics is enormous, which is a definite bonus. This is just Algebra 2. And if you looked back at all of those different grade levels and and courses, that would lead to a lot of different types of problems that we can look at. Okay, so let's pick one and just take a look at it. Okay, we can do, let's do adding and subtracting functions. Okay, so it jumps right into a problem. Notice that we are going to be typing our answer. It's not a simple multiple choice, because with multiple choice, you could end up just having the student pick it until they get it, and that's not really necessarily teaching them the correct methods and how to get the correct answer. It's choose until you get it, basically. Okay, so this one I'm just going to deliberately get the wrong answer. And to do an exponent, they gave me a little button here because I'm going to need a squared. So let's submit it. Okay, so say sorry, incorrect. And I can see that was my answer, and then the correct answer is up here. So I was only off by a negative here. And then they go through an explanation of how to do it, and I can see where my mistake was, and I can click got it, and they give me a whole new problem. It also tells me how much time I'm spending on it. Alright, and then the last drill and practice software I want to show you is one that I'm very familiar with because I've used through my school, and that's called Math Excel for School. Now, it's not free. It's through Pearson, the textbook publisher. It costs about $15 per student per class. So if they're taking multiple classes, they have to get multiple codes. Each student gets a code, and that's what gets them into the class. But I would recommend it. I think it's money well spent. So I'm going to show you an example problem from a geometry assignment that I actually did give my students. So this is where they have to figure out the measure of this angle 1, and you can see that you're going to have to type in your response. So they have graphs that you have to do, where you have to graph something. They have multiple choice problems. They have multiple choice problems. They have multiple step problems. So you can see this one has 3 parts remaining down here, if you can see that. That's because it's going to ask me after I do this first one what the other 3 angles are. Okay, so let's say I am a student and I'm working it through and I think it's 112 degrees. I click down here to check my answer, and not only does it tell me that's incorrect, it gives me a diagram that helps me understand what's going on. Okay. Also, I have these tools over here, very powerful tools, specifically help me solve this, which kind of gives you the same diagram, but it also walks me through some more. It gives me some ideas. So it says the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus something is going to give me 180 degrees. So we're using the fact that same side interior angles of a rhombus are supplementary to write the formula. Okay, so then I'd work through this. I can check my answer. I could also look at an example. Notice when I clicked help me solve this and closed it, it gave me a red X because I didn't get it right yet, and it changed the number. So you don't get to just copy what the help me solve this told me to do, because they go over that exact problem. Instead, it's going to change the problem. I can also view an example. Now, viewing an example won't change the problem because this one's going to be a completely different problem. So you can see this one has 110 degrees. The viewing example will give me 142 degrees, and then I could just watch how they do it. So it's a little different. And once I get the idea, I can go ahead and try again for myself. Okay, so those are 3 examples of some drill and practice software that I think work really well in a high school setting.